So there's a computer game called Age of Mythology, and one of the factions you can play as is the Greek faction. And their characters actually speak lines of real Greek dialogue.
Πρόσταγμα.
But there's this question about whether it's ancient Greek or modern Greek or what it means, so I decided to do an analysis of all the spoken Greek in the game. One of the first things you'll hear if you select a Greek character is the word lege.
Λέγε.
Lege is just a form of the word lego, which means to say or to tell. But lege is imperative, so when the character says lege, he's telling you to tell him something to do. This word is used in both ancient Greek and modern Greek, and the pronunciation is basically the same. It's one of the most basic words in the game. The next one is proseche. This one is actually a combination of the preposition pros, which means towards, and the verb echo, which is the most basic word meaning to have or to hold. But this new word prosecho has some interesting idiomatic meanings. One is to give attention to something, and one is to beware. For example, in modern Greek, if there's a kid doing something dangerous or like crossing the street, you would say proseche, like watch out, be careful.
Πρόσεχε.
That's what this verb is, but I think in context, it's closer to the ancient sense, which is more to give attention to, because they say proseche when you just select a character. So the verb is used in both ancient and modern Greek, but I think it's more towards the ancient sense here. Next is etymos, which is honestly a mess in the game. I spent way too much time trying to figure this out.
Έτοιμος.
Etymos is an ancient and modern Greek word, basically just means ready. So you select a character and he says etymos, means I'm ready. But this is specifically a modern pronunciation because the ancient Greek teachers would say the word is pronounced etoimos, whereas in modern Greek the oi diphthong is just pronounced e. Etymos versus etoimos. Etymos is masculine and it's used when you select a male character. Etimi is the feminine when you select a female character, so that's all correct.
Έτοιμη.
But some characters in the game use two alternate pronunciations of etymos. Some say hetimos
Έτοιμος.
and some say etimos.
Έτοιμος.
And this is extremely confusing. Hetimos, you can see here, has this little apostrophe which signifies the rough breathing. That's the H sound that comes before the initial vowel. Etimos becomes hetimos.
Έτοιμος.
This only exists in ancient Greek though. Modern Greek doesn't do this. And so when they add this ancient H sound, they should also change the OI diphthong into an OI sound. They keep it as an E, which is very strange because it makes it a mix of ancient and modern Greek phonology. Next is etimos, and this one's even more confusing.
Έτοιμος.
They moved the stress accent from the first syllable to the second syllable. Etimos becomes etimos. And this accent placement is totally valid in ancient Greek. There's an ancient version that looks like this. Except it's not valid without the breathing on the initial H sound, which they had on the previous one and dropped for this one. And the oi sound is still pronounced E, so this third one is a completely different combination of ancient and modern phonology. Next up is prostagma.
Πρόσταγμα.
And this word very simply means order or command. This is an ancient word. It wouldn't really be used in modern Greek. There are preferred words for those meanings like entoli or diatagi. Or you could use a word derived from prostagma, which is prostagi. And the pronunciation would be the same between ancient and modern Greek. Next is esto.
Έστω.
This is an ancient word that's still used in modern Greek, which brings up a very interesting point. Because technically you could say that all ancient Greek words do exist in modern Greek, because really it's just one language that has been used continuously from then till now. But this is a super particular example. Esto basically just means let it be.
Έστω.
And you do hear it in modern Greek, but grammatically it doesn't exist anymore. What do I mean? How can it be spoken in modern Greek and not exist grammatically? Because it's a third-person imperative, and those are not part of modern Greek grammar. Imperatives are just what happens when you command someone with a verb. If I take the verb to be in English and I say be better, I'm commanding you with the verb that's an imperative. It's almost always directed at you, a you, either singular or plural. I'm telling you to be better. That's an imperative. But in ancient Greek, you have what's called a third-person imperative, which means you're giving a command to no one, to the air. You're commanding that it be something or some way. So esto is the third-person imperative of the verb to be. It means let it be. People still say it. It does exist in modern Greek, but grammatically it doesn't. There's no more third-person imperative. In the game, when you tell one of your characters to do something, he says esto. Like, all right, let it be so.
Έστω.
Next is ne. This is the simple word for yes.
Ναι.
It exists in both ancient and modern, but in ancient it's fairly rare, whereas in modern Greek it's ubiquitous. You hear it 1,000 times a day, so I'm calling it modern here. Next is another super interesting one, malista.
Μάλιστα.
This is another one like esto because malista is a conspicuous remnant of ancient Greek in modern Greek. Basically, it means utmost or most of all. But in modern Greek, it's commonly used to accept a command in formal settings. Like if you go to a fancy restaurant and you tell the waiter what you want, they can say malista.
Μάλιστα.
Like, got it, yes sir. It's a superlative of an ancient adjective. The basic form of the adjective is mala, which means very. The comparative form is malon, which means more. And then the superlative is malista, which means utmost. So literally it means most, utmost, above all. But in this idiomatic sense, it's used to acknowledge a command. Sort of like how in English, if you gave a Victorian butler a command, he might say something like, very good, sir. Next is voulome.
Voulome.
This is simple ancient Greek for I want or I will. If you select a character and they say voulome, it means I'm willing. Very simple.
Βούλομαι.
Next, we get into the words you hear when you give your character specific tasks, like building something. The first is tekton.
Τέκτον.
This is both ancient and modern Greek, and it simply means mason or bricklayer.
Tekton.
Next, we have dritomos. This is a very interesting word.
Δρυτόμος.
They're definitely pronouncing it in a modern Greek way because the ancient Greek is taught with the U shape, sounding like a U, so it would be dritomos. But they're saying dritomos, which is the modern.
Δρυτόμος.
But the word is ancient and it's very rare. It means woodcutter. You can see here tomos, which comes from temno, the verb meaning to cut. And dru is from drus, which is a tree, specifically I think an oak tree. That's also where we get the famous word doru, which means spear. And there's also some speculation that this could be related to the Celtic word druid, but that's not confirmed. Next is georgos.
Γεωργός.
They say it when you tell them to build a farm because it means farmer.
Georgos.
And this is where we get the modern name Yorgos or George in English. But modern Greek for farmer, you would usually use the word agrotis instead. Next is alievs.
Alievs.
It means fisherman. In modern Greek, again, we have a different word. It's psaras. But this is still a modern Greek pronunciation because it's alievs instead of alieos, which I think is how it would be taught as ancient Greek pronunciation. This word is super well known because it's the word for fishermen used in the Gospels.
Alievs.
Super well known. Next, another really interesting one that I had a hard time tracking down is vuforvos.
Vuforvos.
Vuforvos is what the characters say when you tell them to gather berries. I don't know why that is because that's not what vuforvos means. Vuforvos, again, I had a hard time tracking this down. It comes from vus, which means cow. That's pretty obvious. And forvos, which is related to fowl, for to eat or to feed. It means feeder. So it's someone who feeds or takes care of cows.
Vuforvos.
Why is it used when you order them to pick berries? According to one website I found, it's a mistake in the game. But yeah, this is not a common Greek word, so very interesting how it made it in there as a mistake. Next is thireftis. This is an ancient Greek word pronounced as modern Greek, like most of the others we've seen.
Θηρευτής.
I think in ancient Greek it would be taught as therotes, and it means hunter. It comes from a verb which comes from this noun, which is thir or ther, which means beast, as in wild animal. So when you tell the villagers to go kill animals, they say thireftis, hunter.
Θηρευτής.
Next is metalefs. This is a minor.
Metalefs.
Again, ancient Greek pronounced as modern Greek. Obviously, it's related to metalo, which means metal. Very self-explanatory.
Μεταλλεύς.
Next is tapinos, which stands out in this category.
Ταπεινός.
It stands out because it's not the name of a profession like the others. It's just the ancient Greek word, which means humble. I guess they couldn't come up with a word or find a word for worshiper, so they just said, when the characters are sent to go worship, they'll just say the word humble, tapinos.
Ταπεινός.
I don't know why, but it kind of works. Next is ergatis. This is an ancient and modern Greek word for worker generally.
Εργάτης.
It comes from ergon, the basic word for work. In English, we have words like synergy, which is syn, meaning with, plus ergon, so it means to work together. Super simple one.
Εργάτης.
Next are the military words, things that your characters will say when you order them to attack the opponent.
Εισβολή.
This one is isvoli, which is ancient and modern Greek for invasion. Voli comes from valo, which means to throw or to strike, and is the ancient preposition, which means in or into. So isvoli is an in-strike, an invasion.
Εισβολή.
Next is pani. I saw somewhere that some people thought this was pame, which is a very common modern Greek word meaning let's go. It's like yalla in Arabic. You hear it everywhere. But I searched it and confirmed that I think it is pani.
Πάνι.
Pani is an adverb in ancient Greek that means just like perfectly or by all means. So it's another acknowledgement of an order. Then is orthos.
Ορθός.
Orthos, I couldn't find any confirmation on which form of orthos it is. There are two, they're pronounced the same. This is the adverb and this is the adjective. I lean towards the adverb because the others similar in this category, like pani, are adverbs. Orthos just means straight or upright. You can think of like orthodoxy, for example. In the game, when you tell a troop to move to a certain position and they say orthos, it's like straight there, directly.
Orthos.
Actually, I lied when I said I couldn't find confirmation on which one it is. Everything I saw told me it was the adjective orthos, but I really think it's the adverb because orthos he's not describing himself when he says orthos. He's saying it as a response to the action or the command. Next is ismachin. This comes from is, that's again part of this word isvoli, it means into, and machi is battle, into battle. By the way, when this preposition is used by itself, it's 100% ancient Greek. And if this was pronounced the ancient Greek way, I think it would be eismachin rather than ismachin.
Ismachin.
It sounds similar, but definitely modern Greek pronunciation. Next is kalos. Kalos is just the adverb form of the very famous adjective, also kalos. It's just like with orthos and orthos.
Kalos.
The pronunciations of each pair are the same.
Kalos.
The adverb kalos just means well, because the adjective basically just means good or fine. There's some nuance as to how this should be understood and translated in different literary contexts like philosophy. Kalos is a very important word. But let's say the adjective just means good, so the adverb means well. Both very common in ancient and modern Greek. The last one is poro.
Poro.
This is ancient Greek and it means like far away, but it's also used to tell people to advance. I'll actually post a dictionary entry for this because it's really rare and interesting. I had never actually read a full layout of its senses before, but here it's used again like an adverb.
Poro.
Overall with this game, I really like that they did ancient Greek words with modern Greek pronunciations, because the way that the ancient Greek quote-unquote speakers speak today, honestly, just sounds so ridiculous that you cannot use it in a video game. So I'm happy they did this. Clearly some of the voice actors are native Greek speakers, and I think they did a great job.